But as you can see, we have a lot of accessories. Some of these are value-added accessories. Some of these are just our normal fasteners. So we have multiple ways of installing deck boards. But in speaking about a value-added product, we have this product called ProTac. It's a flashing tape or joist tape. So it's designed to go on top of your joist. And this one's 1.625, so single joist. We make a double wide tape, 3 1/4, and that's designed to go over double joists. You can overlap them if you have a beam that's even wider. But a really simple install. It just has a release tape on the bottom. You unroll that. Put it on top of your joist. And cut it down the length of your joist as well. Fairly easy to work with. And this is a butyl-based product. It's not like those bitumen-based products that don't install at cold temperatures. This one is still flexible and will install on cooler days. So there you go, ProTac joist tape. You would continue that throughout the entire job, covering all of the exposed wood surfaces. Now, one of the reasons why joist tape is becoming so popular is with the design of our products, we're able to keep increasing the warranties. So 25-year on Edge, 30-year on TimberTech, and 50-year on AZEK. That is, the lifespan of the deck board is now outlasting the joist. So I see still in some installations that they're using barrier treated. So you definitely want to put joists in there, but preferably you're using a treated joist. And you should still, if you're using a treated joist, you should still put a joist tape on. So ProTac is a great solution for that. Now, as we get to our first board here, a couple considerations. So you almost always want to start your first board as a square-shouldered board. Now, for aesthetics, some installations will have a different color for that perimeter board, just to break up the deck a little bit. And so the square-shouldered boards will be used on perimeter primarily and stairs. And they're really useful on stairs because having a different color on a stair is kind of a safety addition. So when you start your first board, you want to take into consideration that you're going to have some fascia material on there. So you don't want to do it right on the edge of the board because your fascia material is going to sit down here and it'll look a bit goofy. Some guys might do an install like this where they bring the fascia up. I've found that to be problematic because debris gets in here and water, and when it freezes in the fall and winter, it'll start pushing that fascia board off and distorting it. So the best practice, fascia boards are usually less than 1/2 inch in most cases. Best practice is to overhang your perimeter board about 3/4 inch. Then in that way your fascia board is completely hidden and hidden from the elements as well. So yeah, we're just going to jump right in here and do our first type of fastener. So our top screw fastener is a family called TopLoc. There's various lengths, but 2.5 inches is the most common. Now with all of our fasteners, generally what you find is everything you need to do the job is in the package. So you'll have screws in here. When you go to the clip systems, you'll have screws and clips, and you also have your bits for screwing those screws in. So you don't have to hunt around for these when you get to the job site. They're right there. You'll get more than one. I've done a couple of installs, so I've used some of these. But the bit is right in the package, and it's ready to go. So we're going to do a couple top screws here. So with our TopLoc system, we have a color that matches every deck board. Even though there's 30 plus deck colors, you might only need to stock 7 or 8 colors of screws, because a dark brown will do 4 or 5 colors, a medium gray will do 4 or 5 colors. So it's good practice for a dealer to stock 7 or 8 colors of TopLoc. You don't have to pre-drill an AZEK. So this is an AZEK board that I'm starting with. You don't have to pre-drill these. They're a little more forgiving than the TimberTech board. Slow down as you get to the surface. But as you can see, it's fairly ergonomically pleasing. And those go in fairly easily. So that's our TopLoc solution. Another product that we came out with last year is a system called SIDELoc. This is made for us by Camo. It's very similar to the Camo jig, as you can see, made with Camo. Now in this box, where the tool, there's no fasteners and no screws. Those you buy separately. So a lot of you, I'm sure, are familiar with these, but basically it just is a grip, and you put that in your deck board. Now again, the fastener box for SIDELoc, there's several different configurations and sizes of screws, quantities of screw boxes. But again, everything you need comes in the box. So we've placed our SIDELoc tool on here. You drop in the screws. So then you just grip it to release it and take it off. And as you can see, nothing on the surface. This is considered a hidden fastener. If you go to the side, you can see that the screw is going at a 45-degree angle, but from the surface it's hidden. So next type of fastener, again, is going to be our Cortex. And Cortex is a similar screw to the TopLoc. It's designed specifically for composite decking. Now, one thing to note here is the thread on the bottom of the screw goes in the normal direction, but the upper 1/4 inch is reverse thread. That will router out the hole for the plug. So again, in your bag here, you get your special bit, your special fastening bit. You get all the plugs you need for all these screws, and you get all the screws you need. So have a pouch full of those. And the other thing you could do here is start with a clip system. And the way to do that is with this router bit. So the router bit is designed to groove a square shoulder board in those spots where the joists are. Now we're not going to do it to these boards because obviously I've put in a SIDELoc screw here, but you could router that out on every joist and then start with a normal ConceaLoc or FusionLoc clip. But we're not doing that today. We are going to be going with a TopLoc fastener for the first course, and then a clip for the second course. So you're probably always wondering what these are. These are spacers. Now we make a branded spacer called an AZEK spacer. You can space deck boards 1/8 of an inch and 3/4 of an inch with this little tool. And it's customer preference which spacing you want to use. Our clips are generally 1/8 inch, so I like to use the 1/8 inch side. But you would need 2 for each board. In fact, you probably want several along a 16 or 20 foot board, but that spaces it correctly. Now, very important, we switched from AZEK to TimberTech wood composite. So TimberTech wood composite, you can see from the side, this blonde is wood flour. It's denser. So you can't just you can't just screw in. You have to pre-drill wherever you're putting a TopLoc screw or a Cortex screw. So the drill bit size you have to use is 5/32, and you would just pre-drill 1 inch only. You don't want to go deep into the wood, because if you're going deep into the wood, you're removing material where that screw needs to go and bite into. So we want to be careful, be 3/4 of an inch from the edge. Pre-drill 1 inch. Pre-drill 1 inch. Now, these bits have this little sponge protector on here. That prevents you from stripping the screw or going too deep with the screw. So I'll show you how that works. Always good practice when you're putting in a fastener to step on the board. So every time you're putting in a TopLoc screw or a SIDELoc screw or a ConceaLoc screw or a hidden fastener, which we're going to do in a minute, good practice to step on the board. So when it hits this sponge, it kicks the bit out. It's a bit of a safety catch. Do that twice. Now, as I mentioned, the top 1/4 inch of that screw routed out the hole for the plug. So we have some Aswood plugs here. Now, these are currently loose in the bag. We're slowly converting to a collated plug system. So the plugs will come on these collated strips. Or sorry, the grain will line up with the plug. So for now, however, as we're in transition period, you have to kind of line it up yourself. So that's not bad. Grab a hammer. Add that in. Same over here. Try and line it up best you can. So there you go. So when you're this far away, you can barely see those. And in fact, a lot of people don't like doing top screw on the perimeter boards, but you often have a railing here. So that railing will cover a lot of these screws. So they're not really visible anyway on the perimeter. Stairs, different story. You're going to want to top screw stairs no matter what.